was so
That was good.
clean.
That was good.
Dang, we're on beat with the claps. Okay, cool. Okay, hi, how's it going? So, I'm Arey, A-R-E-Y, and this is my YouTube channel. I'm here with one of my really close friends, Emmanuel Santiago, and he goes by isantiago on YouTube.
Yep.
I'll just say a few words about him. He's a really good producer. He is in the School of Music here that I'm also in at Appalachian State University.
App State.
He is a content creator on YouTube, and he makes really, really good videos. Some are entertaining, some are producing, some are teaching, all sorts of types of videos. And we are also working on a song together.
Yes.
And he just released a video about some plugins. It was very funny. Definitely recommend you should check it out. And this is isantiago. If you guys would definitely go subscribe to his channel.
Thank
Check
you.
him out. And would you like to say anything about your channel, about things you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, came out with a video not too long ago, just reacting to some plugins. You know, pretty laid back, funny video, trying to inform the people about plugins to stay away from. But
Definitely.
I'm going to New York next week. AES, Audio Engineering Society, has a convention. And yeah, huge networking opportunity, but a great video idea, you know. Definitely going to vlog up in New York. We'll see how that goes. My first time in New York. Have you been to New York?
Never
Never,
been
so-
there yet.
I'll tell you how it is.
I'm excited.
This is my first time going.
Let's go.
So I'm excited. It'll be nice. But yeah, that's what I've got planned for the channel. And then hopefully some stuff for our song soon.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
that's what I got planned. But yeah, subscribe to my channel if you haven't checked it out, isantiago. But yeah, that's what I've got going on.
Awesome. Yeah. So, the reason that this video and this podcast that I'm about to start right now actually is relevant is that there's lots of people who are trying to get into the music world, and they need to find kind of their path, or like where their interests will lead them, right? So, me and Emmanuel have experienced a good amount so far. We're not, fully on into our careers. We're in school right now, but I want to interview people like Emmanuel who are getting out there into the world soon and have done their own creative work and their own career development. And I want to ask them about their path and like where they're headed, what they could see themselves doing, because I feel like for a lot of people out there, they are a little bit lost on what they'd be good at and what they love and what they like, because what you hear on the internet, like beat making and being a amazing producer by using copying others basically, and loops and MIDI chord packs and like all that kind of thing is very typical of the internet world. But I feel like it doesn't really teach you how to take your skills to the next level. It doesn't teach you how to develop as a full picture type of producer and
like a professional.
And like a professional, because we want to be professionals in the industry. Like, we want to work with people that we respect and people that,
people that also know what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I'm sure you agree. What kind of thoughts do you have on that? Like,
yeah, that's one of the biggest reasons why I came to school for recording and production.
Yeah.
It's because, today's, it's so like common that you'll hear people saying, "Oh, I don't need school. I'm just gonna, everything's online."
Yeah,
or
for
I don't
sure.
need school. That's such a waste of money.
Mhm.
But and for certain industries, I could definitely see
Yeah.
that. But
Oh,
personally, that's just not the way I see my life going.
Yeah, for
I've
sure.
always been someone that likes learning. I want to learn, stuff. Like when I listen to music, especially, and I'm sure you've done this too. You're
yeah.
"Oh, how'd they do that?
Oh,
I want to learn how they did that."
100%.
Or I really like that transition. How did he do that?
Yeah.
So I was
definitely.
always like that. And the thing I think that people don't really get when you don't go to college, at least for what we're doing,
Yeah.
is that guidance,
Mm-hmm.
Because, everyone has access to the internet. It's out there. The information's out there. But
100%.
how do I get there? What do I do? Where do I start? And, having the professors and other people in the program to honestly just like mentor you,
Yeah.
to like shape you into like the person that is going to get to that next step is why I came. That coupled with the fact that we're in a multi-million-dollar studio right now, like,
Yeah.
that's the other thing. How are you going to get access to this if you don't go to an institution that'll have it?
Yeah.
It's like, because, theoretically, I can look up the manual for the SSL online.
You could. I hope it works for you.
Yeah, but, like, it's that, like, hands-on experience that I personally learned. Like, I need to touch stuff. I need to actually tell me how it works. Tell me how to,
Yeah.
do all that. And now that I'm a senior in a program, like I honestly went from knowing pretty much what everyone on the internet knows, where it's like I can make beats, I'm a producer, you know, like I'm that. It's like, but that only really teaches you so much.
Yeah.
You know, I feel
for sure. Yeah.
I feel like there's people who gatekeep a lot of information just to keep people out of the industry.
Oh my gosh, and that is a problem, I would say. But I mean, for sure, continue.
Yeah. That's why you should check out my channel. I don't gatekeep information from you. If you want to learn, come to the channel to learn. But besides the self promo, the other thing is that the equipment, like I said, this is top tier equipment. Like this is not everywhere. You know, like when I was looking at colleges, I was comparing what equipment do you have versus what equipment does App State have. And the only other colleges that really competed were out of state. Yeah. Costed a lot of money. And, you know, I'm not trying to go into too much depth.
No, me neither. Yeah.
And so, yeah, the fact that this was here in the mountains of North Carolina, that was perfect for me.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's that alongside the networking opportunities you get in college. It's extremely, in my opinion, it's harder to network with people on the internet than it is in person. Yeah. Because anyone can type, you know, something that's, you know, nice online, but like you can't put a face to the name. Yeah. So, you know, like that's how we met.
Yeah, for sure.
Now we're making a song together, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
And then there's plenty of other people in the program that quite honestly are going places. Like I have not heard of anyone that came into this program and like didn't go somewhere with their life. Yeah, for sure. So that's why, you know, I chose this path versus being the typical I can do it on my own producer, because you can't. Yeah. Like, it's not, like, I'm not going to be here and be like, I know everything because I'm the smartest dude in the world. Like, one, I'm not. Yeah. Two, I'm always learning. Like, that's how I think life is. It's always a learning process. There's always something to learn. But, you know, also got to give yourself credit when, you know, credit's due. But at the same time, like, a lot of the man I am now isn't because it was an effort of mine alone. It was because, you know, people helped me. And so, yeah, that's what I like about the program, and that's why I chose this path. Yeah.
Hey, I love that. Thank you for kind of explaining what, you know, some of the benefits of taking the, I mean, if you want to, you know, call it the school route, for instance, like, and I wouldn't want to discourage people completely for not going to school, because it's obviously like a viable option depending on what you're trying to do. I would say is like a big distinction.
Because anyone can do it, don't get me wrong, but me personally, I didn't have, so like when I went to high school, I didn't have any of this at all. Yeah, for sure. The only thing I had, so a little backstory on me is when I first started producing, I produced on an iPod.
Hey, I love that.
I started on an iPod with GarageBand, and when I tell you, I learned that thing like from the inside out. I can do everything on it now, right? Because I did use the internet. I studied, but one, it takes that dedication and the willingness to do that, which some people don't have. You know, some people kind of need that, like that
helping hand,
that little push where it's like, you gotta do this, and some people need that, some people don't. Which you know, good thing I didn't need it, but I learned with what I had. Yeah. But it was because of that experience that I was like, okay, I'm not gonna get this on my own. Where can I go to get this? Definitely. So yeah, I guess, you know, people who are like that, that's why I personally will recommend this route. I'm not saying you can't be, you know, productive and successful without going to college, because you definitely can, but some people just aren't in the position to do that, you know? Yeah. And I was one of them. I was not in the position to do that. So I had to make myself and give myself that opportunity. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And I mean, so really, like, one thing I found too is like it goes back to what you were saying. Like, are you a self-motivator? Are you able to put yourself in the driver's seat, seek out opportunities? Because just for anybody who, you know, possibly came across this or listens to a clip, like if you want to pursue music as part of your career or as your career, I my personal opinion, and you can chime in on this too, like whatever you think. My personal opinion is that if you are avoiding school as your route, that may be fine. That may work for you depending on what you're doing. But I think a big asset to you would be seeking out people who are already in the industry doing things that you're doing and looking for mentorship opportunities, internship opportunities. Those type of things are going to be an amazing asset to you, because even for me, before I came to music school, I literally sat with somebody and they taught me some of the finer different things you can do in the DAW that I use, which the DAW that we both use is Logic Pro.
Yep,
So
the best
yeah.
DAW out there. Nothing better.
Yeah, I love Apple products. I'm one of those type of people, and yeah, we both use Logic. We love it. That's not any hate on Pro Tools and Ableton.
FL Studio.
Okay, FL Studio. Okay. No, I mean, you know.
No hate on FL Studio.
Yeah, it's okay. Use your sequencer. I'm proud of you. But okay. Definitely gonna clip that. Okay. But yeah, so I mean, for people who are not in a position to where they want to go to school or they can't go to school for some reason, what do you think is the best way to go?
In terms of you can't go to school?
Yeah, like I mean, some people might not be able to do that for some reason. You know, we don't know what reason, but
yeah,
maybe you don't have the funds. Maybe financial aid doesn't work out for you. Maybe you have to work right now and you can't go to school. You know, and you're just trying to pursue music on the side. Yeah.
Don't give up. That's what I'm gonna say. I know it sounds super cliche. It's like, are you serious, bro? Are you serious? Don't give up. How many people told me that? But I'm serious, because when I first started producing music and I would literally like put my stuff out there, my music out there, I got hate.
Yeah.
People were like, this sucks. Gosh. You should stop. Like,
that's the worst.
And shout out to the people out there, you know who you are, that like listened to my early stuff and said they were like, keep going. They were like, this is good. Don't stop. Shout out to those people, because there's a lot of people out there who literally will stop because they're like, I'm not at this level yet. I'm not, like for me, I make EDM, right? Yeah. If I were to start producing music on, let's say what I did, right? iPod, GarageBand. Yeah. And I compared my iPod GarageBand music to Martin Garrix's studio. Obviously, honestly, people like that at the very top. After being in like this program, you start to learn that like a lot of those people are just a producer with a following. They have their mix engineer. They have their mastering engineer. They don't mix and master their music. Some of them probably don't even like know proper recording techniques, right? Stereo recording techniques. That's what's crazy. Miking techniques. Some of them don't know that. Yeah. And that's like the information I'm trying to put out there, is that like, yeah, you could look up to a big name, but that big name has a whole team under him. He's just the marketing guy. Like, at the end of the day, that sounds like kind of rude. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to undermine these people. For sure. Some of them know their stuff.
Oh, for sure.
But there's some people where it's like, yeah, like you know this person because you've seen the face, and the face sells, and the name sells. But under that name is a whole team of people who know what they're doing.
It's a whole list, and it could be a list of assistant producers and other people who collaborated, or songwriters, all that kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
And I've always wanted to go the route where I do everything on my own.
Me too.
I want to go
That's
like
the type
the
of person I
independent.
am. Yeah.
Like, I don't want, at the end of the day, like, let's say I keep producing music, and let's say I make it to that level, and I don't know the knowledge that I know. Like, I don't want someone to pull my leg, and then, like, that's money lost, you know?
For sure.
Or that's a career that's damaged, and I'm not going to do that. But, yeah, for the people out there, like I said, don't give up. Like, it's not, you know, there was a point in time, so when I was in high school, right? This is actually crazy. I had a counselor that told me that I wouldn't make it into App State.
Yo.
So
okay. PSA: if you're a counselor, or if you're giving advice to anybody who's pursuing something that's part of their dream, part of their life, part of their,
you know,
like,
push them, motivate them.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, sure, like tough love and like criticisms can help, but
no, it was like, so I went in there. Because I'm very, like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Like, that's how I've always been. Like, I set my mind towards something, and I'm going to do it. Yeah. So, I was coming up to App State for music camps and all that, and I, like, knew the professors, like, pretty well. I took private lessons. I came up to the studio before, like, being in the program. I talked to, like, so many people. And then I was set. I'm like, I'm going to come to App State. Obviously, I'm going to apply to other colleges because, duh. Yeah. But when we were required to have, like, a one-on-one with the counselor, we sat down. She was like, all right, so where do you want to go to school? What do you want to do? I'm like, I'm going to App State, and I'm studying recording and production. She looked at my GPA. Now, my GPA wasn't bad. That's the thing. I had a 3.85 in high school. That's not bad.
3.85 is good, like solid.
3.85, and I was working a job. I was in the marching band. Yeah, I was in the drum line. And then I was also doing youth orchestra outside of school. Yeah. And I was doing volunteer work. Because I was trying to make my resume and just, like, myself appealing to, like, colleges, you know? Yeah, definitely. So I did volunteer work, I did marching band, I did orchestra, and I had a 3.85. Like, obviously, I'm not going to have a 4.0 and like perfect scores if I'm doing other stuff outside of school, but that's not bad, you know?
No, not at all.
She looked at my GPA and she's like, App State's a 4.0 school, so I think you should get a safety school. And I hate to be that guy, but you know. And I was like, ooh. And then they were like, oh, the program you're trying to get into, they only really accept 16 people a year. And the year that I actually applied, I think around 80 kids applied.
Wow.
Yeah, so there was like 16 of us that applied. But I don't even want that to scare people out there, because there's people in the program who didn't get accepted.
That's true.
And worked their way into the program.
It's very true.
So it's not like you're not going to do it.
Actually, if I could piggyback on that one point right there, depending the route that you go, like, I think it all boils back down to, like, never give up, right?
Yeah.
Because when I applied, I actually applied into the, we have a marketing and promotion route, like a concentration through our school as well. And I got admitted to that, but I was discouraged from the recording and production program because I was worried that I wouldn't get in, and I knew that would just, like, you know, defeat me a little bit. So I applied to the other route, which is a little less selective, and I got into that. And then I transferred in to the recording and production program by working at it and by meeting people who are in there, and they vouch for me, and meeting the professor and doing the work. And yeah, for sure. So
yeah, so you went that route.
I went that route.
You know it's possible.
I mean, yeah, and now I'm trying to do both, but it's definitely in any route that you choose, not just our school, like, you can always continue to pursue it, put your best foot forward, and it can happen for you. Maybe not right away, but eventually. But yeah, so
yeah,
let's finish that story. That's good. This is like really cool.
They told me I hate to sound like that guy. They told me I couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it.
No, but like,
so I did it.
But yeah, like,
don't worry about the haters.
The thing is, so that's what I had, right? That kind of mentality that, oh, I'm probably not good enough to get into school. I'm worried. So now I'm going throughout my senior year of high school worried that I'm not going to get in. Mm-hmm. And to make matters worse, it was around December when they start giving you the college acceptance letters. I got deferred from App State. So not necessarily rejected, but not accepted. They were like, we want some more time to look at your application. And I was so scared, and I called my friends that were like coming to App, and I was like, look, I might have to transfer. And they were like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, I might have to transfer. I'm going to have to go to another school for a year, and then I might even have to take 5 years of school if I want to get the program that I want to be in. And they were like, I'm so sorry. But like, it made me feel really bad.
Yeah.
But I say that to say that eventually I got accepted and I got in, right? Just had to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But that I say that to say, like, there's your time. There's not a set time. That's something I'm still like trying to focus on today, even with YouTube, even with my like music. It's like, you want it now. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
I do. Oh yeah, I know.
You spend so much time making music, making content, setting up videos, editing videos. You do all this work, and you just want the fruits of your labor now. But if it were that easy, everyone would do it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's crazy. Like, the opportunities are accessible, but the work is like just not. You can't avoid it. Like, there aren't shortcuts to. Even if you don't take a school route, if you just take it, you know, on your own, and you're learning things through internet and through different like courses that you can take, whatever you're doing, the shortcuts just don't pan out. Like, you have to put in the work, and like, that's one of the things I really like about this guy. He puts in the work for sure. Like, YouTube, he puts in the work.
Best.
Producer, he puts in the work. All of it. But yeah, I honestly can kind of relate, because I was scared about getting into the program because I wanted it so much too. Yeah. And I think another thing too is, like, even people that come into this program, some of them come in knowing nothing. Yeah. And then they learn it all the way from the ground up, which is a fine approach. But both of us, it sounds like, at least, had
some experience
had
before, right?
been producing before the program, doing lots of work outside of it. And once I finally got in, like, officially for this year especially, I was just it was almost comforting to know, like, I did the work. I actually know more than my peers. Like, it's kind of the same thing. Like, you know, I bet you like experienced that too, probably a little bit.
Yeah, I will say, like, there were some people that came into the program with me in my class, and I was like, whoa, I don't know as much as them. And I felt bad about myself, because I was like, oh, they had a recording class in high school, or they went out and did all this in high school.
I definitely didn't have a recording class. I wish I had.
Neither
Yeah,
did I.
wish
But
I
I
had
was
that.
I was like worried. I was like, oh man, like I felt dumb. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a little bit, I started to realize like this program really shows you like how little you actually know, because there's production, but production is like one aspect.
It's really funny. The world of audio engineering, as from my perspective, is one of those things where it's like you get in and you're like, okay, so I need a DAW, I need to produce, and I need to learn how to make music. I'm gonna find a DAW that works for me, just not FL Studio,
FL Studio,
and I'm going to experience. What does this do? What does this do? And that's usually everybody's first step is like, okay,
let me get my DAW, level. Take my baby steps, learn the DAW. But, when you get into a program like this, it's like, oh, there's a DAW, but, and you know how to produce music. But, like, there's so much more. Like, I came in here knowing just that. Like, I had Logic. And the thing is, I didn't even know Logic Pro like I do now.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, I was making so many mistakes back then, like, in terms of mixing, that now I'm like, oh, my God, why do I have so many reverb channels open on the inserts? Like,
exactly.
why is my computer crashing? Maybe because but like now I go from that to now I'm so confident that I could, and we literally had a project on this to build a studio like this from scratch. Infrastructure, routing, networking, everything. I'm comfortable with that. And so like, and again, I'm not saying that to be like, I know everything. It's like, no, I sat down and I put in the work to learn. But that's what I like about it. And anyone can do it.
Yeah.
If I can do it, you can do it.
And, like, I feel like this applies to most routes in music in general. Like, there's a lot more to learn and understand than you could ever understand. From the beginning, there's so much more than you even think is to learn. Like, it's so much, which is cool, because if you really love it, like, it's exciting when you find out something new. Like, when you understand, oh, I can actually hear a difference when I boost, 1200 yeah, 1200 hertz.
1200,
yeah, 1200 hertz.
Or 12 kilohertz.
Or 12 kilohertz as well. Yeah. And like, another thing I really enjoyed about this program too, and in general, like, this is something that anybody can take advantage of too, is like when I sat with him one day and showed him projects in Logic that I was working on, he was already able to hop in and give me some pointers, take some of the processing power down a good bit on my computer, save me space, do all sorts of things to make my workflow quicker, to overall, like, make the sounds just come out better. And for audio engineering especially, like, it takes a really long time to completely understand everything, like compression, EQ, frequencies, everything. It takes a little bit of time, but having that, like, helping hand, like somebody who's going to sit there and be like, well, you could do this, you could change up this, and this is how I do it. Like, it helps tremendously, especially with audio engineering and producing too, in general. But so we kind of went over a little bit about, like, your experience, like, coming into the program, like, talked a little bit about both of us. So how'd you get into EDM?
So before EDM, as I was saying earlier, I was really big into hip hop, and I still am. My two favorite genres are future house and hip hop. So I started listening to hip hop around the 2010, 2013 era. So a lot of Lil Wayne, a lot of 2 Chainz, Big Sean, lots of that, and I loved it. Don't get me wrong, it was a good time for hip hop back then. But it wasn't. So this is gonna sound pretty basic, because I feel like there's so many EDM producers out there that did the same thing.
Yeah.
But have you heard the song by Martin Garrix? It's called Animals.
Yes.
So that song, when I first heard it,
very popular song.
Very popular. And when I first heard it, I was like, I like this. I want to make this. And I played basketball too, and so I used to listen to hip hop while I played basketball. But I started listening to Martin Garrix when I was playing basketball, and it just gave me so much like energy, and I was hyped. So that's, I started listening to it for about like a year, and then it wasn't until I got my first iPod that I had GarageBand, like I was saying earlier, that I produced music on an iPod. That's when I was like, I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna make it. I can do that. Yeah. And I heard his song. I was like, I can do this. And I was a musician at the time, so I started playing an instrument when I was 10, and the instrument I play, not many people have heard of it. At least people that don't do classical music. I play the oboe, which is kind of like I don't want to say a blend between a flute and a clarinet because it's not really, but it's a double reeded instrument. So instead of having one reed, there's two. It's like that. It's a tiny little mouthpiece, and you can take it off of the top of the instrument. But yeah, it's
shout out to oboe players. If you're an oboe player, it doesn't mean you have to do oboe music for your entire career. You can actually learn how to produce EDM.
You could
trap.
Yeah, if you're out there,
hard rock.
If there's another oboe player out there who produces EDM, like, I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
But anyways,
dude, hard rock oboe playing.
Hard rock oboe playing. But yeah, I played the oboe. Same kind of thing happened with the oboe where like I went the traditional route in high school where it was like 5th grade, band. And I liked music. Like I wasn't, at least my family, so my parents in Puerto Rico, and I didn't really get the whole, I was born in Orlando. So, and when we moved to North Carolina, I was like, kind of introduced to a different culture and all that. And so I didn't know that there was so much hate towards like band kids,
There is some hate towards band kids. I'm not gonna lie though. Like when you're like young in high school, like we were both basketball players, so like that was kind of a culture that we came. I mean, I
played basketball since I was 5.
Same,
So
and we definitely relate on that a little bit. Like there's like the basketball player culture. So the band kids don't vibe with that entirely. But when you get older, it
starts
easier
to become you're a musician, you're not a band kid.
Yeah, well, exactly.
For some people. I do not associate myself as a band kid.
I don't associate myself as a band kid at all, but I've come to like really respect like their work ethic a lot.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the band kids, but continue.
But yeah, so my family so my grandpa's a musician. He plays the guitar actually, and he plays the guitar, acoustic guitar. And he plays an instrument that's a Puerto Rican instrument. It's like a guitar. It's called a cuatro. It's kind of like a guitar, but it's like double stringed, and it's a little bit smaller too. I don't want to say like a ukulele because it's definitely bigger than one of those.
Oh,
but
yeah.
That's what he plays.
I've seen them. They're cool. Yeah.
So he plays.
Shout out
both
World
of those.
Music class.
Yep. But so my family, in terms of, besides him, my uncle on my dad's side is a singer, and he's recorded and released tracks. So I come from a family of musicians and athletes. My aunts on my dad's side are like huge. They're all like 6 feet tall. One of them was like the chief of police in Puerto Rico. So like,
ooh, chief of police.
Yeah, and then like her son. So my cousin, he plays baseball like professionally. So I kind of got both, which is like good. I kind of wish I was probably like 6'5", since I play basketball. But
dude, don't we all?
Don't we all, right?
I don't know like how many basketball players have transitioned over to music, but like. There definitely are more, and I feel like that is like it's all right. Like we wish we were 6'5" too, but
at least we're not short.
Yeah, at least we're not like
no
really,
hate to the short kings out there. We love you.
Yeah,
like,
short kings that use FL Studio. No, sequencer life. No, I'm just playing. Okay, so so we got just to recap. So we got a musical background with your family. Your grandfather played the
guitar and the cuatro.
Yes,
yeah.
And you also had a singer in your family, and you played the oboe. You were in band, and so the influence though, like from maybe a little bit of basketball culture, the hip hop, all those kind of things, was a little bit where you started though, like with your music influence, like where you.
Yeah,
your music
I started. So yeah, a lot of it was classical music at first, because like I said, the oboe.
Oh, okay.
And then hip hop was like the big thing for me. It was just a way for me to like a lot of the things that people would mention in hip hop just resonated with me a lot. So that's what drew me into it. I could see myself within the music, but then, EDM, I could also see myself in that as well, because it gave me like energy. It made me happy. Not to say that hip hop doesn't make me happy, and there's music for all types of emotions.
And all types of people.
Yeah,
for sure.
But it was something about EDM that with me, it just like struck a chord, and I was like, dude, this is, I love this. And, to each their own. People may not like EDM, but, the point in me saying that is that, I found something that I liked. And I still do both hip hop and EDM, but I release EDM. But hip hop is like, my name is in there somewhere, probably in like the mixing or the producing. Maybe not the rapper, but like I still stick with it. But yeah, when I first heard Animals by Martin Garrix, I loved it. Started really getting into EDM culture, learning the subgenres, learning all about the production. And it's crazy because a lot of EDM producers, you know what DAW they use?
What DAW do they use?
FL Studio. Martin Garrix's Animals was made on FL Studio. So if that could make it big, right?
Why can't our song? No, yeah, for sure.
Yep, quick little promo. But
yeah, song's coming out soon.
It is coming out soon. But like, yeah, so it was that kind of that learning all about EDM subgenres, Martin Garrix, different artists. And what's crazy is a lot of them aren't based in the U.S. Like EDM is bigger overseas.
Yeah, I've definitely from a little research I found that out. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
and
crazy.
so when I first like found that out, I felt like I was at a disadvantage because I was like, oh, my audience isn't here.
Oh yeah.
But that's, to me, I kind of found it as a good thing because I'm like, I can pioneer an EDM like culture in a place where it wasn't previously established. Like I could bring that. And so I don't try to view that as like a disadvantage. But, I'm not saying that there's no EDM in the U.S. Just like maybe not North Carolina versus, Miami or L.A. or New York.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, like I said, I heard Martin Garrix, very basic because I feel like so many people have heard Martin Garrix and now produce music.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, for sure. He's a big influence, I feel like, because he like in a way pioneered it because he made
it very popular.
He got so popular that it became more of a common mainstream genre. Like I mean, for a while when I was younger, like in high school and middle school, like I felt like EDM wasn't as big of a genre until some of those big hits and some of those collaborations with like the bigger names came through
from other genres too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Making that
for sure.
Yeah, Martin Garrix. That was my guy.
Yeah,
now it's a bunch of other artists. I really like Mo Falk, Mike Williams, Retrovision. Some of those are pretty big names in the future house kind of realm, and they're all not from the U.S. It's like Germany, France, Amsterdam, those kind of places. But one day I hope to go there. But yeah, those are kind of the people who inspire me now.
That's awesome. That's another thing that's crazy to me too is like, just like what we were talking about with like audio engineering in general is like you go into it, you know what you know, and then like as soon as you get to the next step or the next book or the next thing or the next video, it's like a whole nother world opens up. And that like for me, like I'm a singer songwriter and I like just write whatever, right? And I like use all sorts of influences and I like to produce in a few different like styles, but like every genre of music has a completely vast subsect of each little thing that you can go into. It's like really similar, and I feel like a lot of things are that way too, but I mean, yeah, I don't know, it's crazy, right? Like how many different avenues there are. I mean, you could call a lot of music indie pop, like all sorts of music that I do too, but there's so many different things about each. It's wild.
Yeah.
So we have a song coming out. I'm really excited about that. That's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah.
Have you noticed any? I want to ask you something about it. I feel like it'd be kind of fun to pick your brain. Is like when you as an EDM producer, this also might apply for any other producers out there who are not singers and are not maybe not instrumentalists or musicians. They just like working more
in the DAW, like
in the DAW
box.
and in the box type. I mean that's especially true for like mix engineers and mastering engineers and those type of people too, which we run into a lot of those at our program too. I feel like, people don't always want to be the musician. They just want to work on it. So I was gonna ask like and people whoever might view this as a clip or whatever might understand like what's it like when you work with an artist and it might not necessarily like what are maybe complications you've run into when you work with an artist that maybe has a vision or their own types of their own ideas for the way the song should go, and what does that look like as a producer who specializes on the what would you say you specialize in, like just the overall build of the song, like the instrumentation, like the
I'd like to say I can do it all.
Well, yeah, for sure. You definitely do, but like when you work with the artist,
when I work with the artist,
what would your part? I mean, you mix it. I know you do it all, but like when you're using someone else as a writer or singer,
so like doing something for someone else, like how do I facilitate their kind of
vision
to come to life?
Yeah, and then like to piggyback off that, when you
Mhm.
use somebody as a voice or a singer on your
On
song.
mine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's two different approaches I would do. If it's not my song
Mhm.
and it's the singer and I'm also doing the production, but it's their song, then I go with what their vision is.
Okay, yeah, which
Uh,
completely makes sense. Like
yeah.
in the instance that I want to be a producer for someone else's song and I want to help them execute their vision, you're going to do your best job in making their vision better and
Mhm.
not like taking it over as your own.
Yeah. But you
when
can
it's,
also offer
yeah.
like insight too.
Oh, for sure.
Like if it's
yeah.
their vision, maybe they haven't seen as much as you because you're more of a producer and they're more of a singer.
Mhm.
You can say you have a great idea, but have you ever thought about this? Not
Yeah.
saying you have to do it, but like maybe you haven't heard of something like this before and they're like, "Oh my god, that's amazing." Or they're like, "No, let's stick to my own." But, yeah, if it's someone else, their vision, I'm going to help them and maybe guide them as well.
Mhm.
If it's my own and I'm getting a singer, then I'd like for them maybe to do kind of what I had in my head. But if it's like a collab,
Yeah.
if it's like kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, what we're doing, I really like what we're doing, and I feel I'm trying to be. I guess a little explanation is we're taking a song that we were writing it together. We started out in the studio with just a guitar
Mhm.
and a MIDI keyboard, and we were at our school studio, and we just brainstormed some chords and figured out a tempo, BPM, and then we both like took it separate ways, and he worked on the
instrumental,
the production, the synths, the everything that goes into making a filled out EDM production. And then you want to talk about that process at all?
Yeah, so like like what you said, we did start out with the chords on the guitar, and that's kind of like where I want to start things. Usually is with the chords, and then just I wanted to see where your head was at because I've heard your voice before, I've heard your songs before. And then I was like, wow, he's got a really good voice. It would work good on something like this or something like that. So then I sent you a bunch of reference tracks.
Yes.
And I was like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And you were like, I like that. Or I like this one a little bit more. Oh, but what do you think about this? And you sent me songs.
Yeah.
And so I kind of took all of that into account, the chords that we made, the songs that you sent. And I was like, okay, so he's looking for, you listen to a lot of progressive house. So like Kygo, Avicii, stuff like that. So I was like, well, he listens to a lot of progressive house, and he's got that progressive house voice. I listen to a lot of future house. I've done progressive house, don't get me wrong, but how could we? My thought process was, what if I blend those two? What if
blending two styles.
Yeah, I have like a singer-songwriter type intro, and it keeps progressing, but the main part of the song isn't progressive house.
Yeah,
like those types of synths. I switch it up, and it's future house. And so that's kind of what was going on in my mind. Then after we got the chords, I took it into the DAW, and I pretty much just had what was in my mind, made it a thing. We came back. You had some lyrics already written. We added some more lyrics later on together, and like now it's just flourished into what we got now.
Yeah.
And I kind of like to think of at least collaborations kind of the same way as life, which sounds kind of a little cheesy, but I say that as like you can have a plan, but sometimes life kind of guides you another way or takes you another way, right?
Definitely.
And so like I don't want to say I'm gonna make this song and it's gonna be exactly like this. It's like no, it's a collaboration, So you know things that I don't, and I know things that maybe you haven't seen before. And so when we make that song together, we kind of fuse our our backgrounds, and then eventually the song takes its own path, and the song becomes unique. And that's what I think makes the song unique versus sounding like everyone else.
Yeah, for sure. Like that creative freedom to explore like both people's ideas and everything. So our song's going great. That's awesome. I'm really excited, and we'll put out more stuff about that.
Yeah.
But
stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned for sure. But so one thing I kind of want to ask, and for my personal development as a producer and anybody else who may come across this video, what are some setbacks or hangups that you come across when you're working with other people, and how do you deal with those? And you can take it on whatever application you'd like. If it's when you're making your personal song and the singer is, being difficult in some way, or if we're collaborating, right, or you're collaborating with somebody else, and something that they're doing is not working. For instance, when I can't sing a certain line or a certain harmony perfectly because I don't have as much experience as some singers doing that kind of thing, because those type of things come up too. So
So when I kind of take those approaches where things kind of don't go my way, I try not to get frustrated. I don't get like for example, like when our like incident happened, I don't want to call it an incident, but it was like you couldn't hit the note, right? And
our
so
incident. No, just kidding. Yeah.
But like, you know,
The
we were trying to find the right note.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like, oh my God, you suck. Don't ever do this again. Like that.
He actually was like that, and he told me that I should just go and be a FL Studio beat maker. No, I'm just kidding. No, he didn't. He didn't.
But
do
like,
that.
imagine if I did that. That would have ruined the whole vibe of the song.
100%. Yeah.
And like then, so I don't really like to view it like that because I think like, oh, I remember a point when I was a musician, like when I played the oboe, right? Let's say my teacher was like, because I couldn't play things perfectly.
Yeah.
And like I'm really good at it now, and I'm been fortunate enough to play in like the symphony orchestra, play all these hard pieces. But if I didn't mess up in the past, and like imagine if my teacher was like, oh my God, you suck. Like,
oh my God,
you just crush a little 11-year-old Emmanuel Santiago's dreams of playing the oboe by like
you're terrible.
You know? But like I wouldn't do that because like, you know, I'm not perfect, like, you know, so I'm gonna be like, okay, what can I do to try to help him get that note? What can I do? And so like, even though I'm not a singer and it might have sounded really bad, I did my own take over it. And I'm like, let's try and match this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, or I brought out the piano and I was like, all right, let's hit this note. And then we worked on it and we got you there. And now,
for sure.
The next session,
I could actually
hit it perfectly.
Which was so satisfying too. So I mean, just having patience with other artists and collaborators will go a long way, it sounds like too, and then giving them tools and things to help them along the way, and helping them grow too, especially us, like we're in school, like we're not like
we're here to make mistakes.
We're not done growing ever, but I mean we're not professionals in our careers fully yet. Like neither of us are working full time in this yet. We're still learning, so like, you know, part of the process like that could be a really useful tip for anybody who's learning or trying to produce with others. But have you ever dealt with somebody who is like their ideas are clashing with you, or they're not willing to? Because for me in that specific song and that specific time, I wasn't trying to run away from any of your ideas because I thought your ideas were really good. So I was trying to match what you were telling me and kind of like blend our vision and use the melody. So he came up with the melody and I just wanted to do it, and it just took me a little bit to get there. But now if I was, you know,
maybe a different artist that was
different
more
person,
difficult.
and not flexible. Like what does that look like? Because I haven't come across this yet, but I want to know. So.
Yeah, first thing is just don't take it personal. Like if they're like, I don't like this, I don't want to do this, don't take it personal. Just be like, okay, what can we do? Like try to work with them, because in the professional world, at least from what I've seen working gigs and, you know, trying to take on like internships and stuff like that, and working with people just outside of school is, you know, you can't do everything yourself, and just don't take it as like, oh, I'm so bad, or he doesn't like my idea, I must be this is this. No, okay, what can you see? Because, you know, I can't be in your mind, and I can't be in someone else's mind. And if they're like getting difficult, just ask why. So what about this do you not like? Like, okay, and what do you think we should do? Right? Don't try to be like, no, well, my idea is good because I know what. No, that's, first of all, that's selfish. That's dumb. And that's how you lose opportunities and burn bridges. But two, like sometimes us as individuals, we kind of have our blinders on. You know, like, you know how horses have their like blinders when they're racing? We kind of have our blinders on. We're like, no, my idea is the best. I know what I'm doing. When in reality, like there's, like we were saying earlier, we're always learning. So maybe they're seeing something that we're not. And by just saying, okay, what's making you frustrated? What is it? Could you help me? Could you like show me what you're seeing? And then by that, one, you kind of bring down the tension if there is any. But two, like you allow yourself to see what this person is thinking and learn from them at the end of the day.
For sure. I really like the point about kind of stepping back and not taking it as like criticism on yourself, like that you did something wrong, because I mean, everybody, especially in music, because music's like creative, like we get a little bit down on ourselves, and I mean, I do it for
Yeah,
sure.
I
Like,
do too.
Yeah, going back to what you were saying earlier, like Martin Garrix or somebody who we look up to, or like anybody. When we like, I compare myself to producers that I love. Like, I like John Bellion a lot. And he inspires me. But I've tried in the past to compare my like sonic quality to his. But then we got to remember, like, especially our earlier productions and stuff like that, we weren't making them in $1 million studio like what we're sitting in right now. You know, like, we get the privilege to do this at our school, but like
we weren't here. The way I like to think about it is that we're on the same path. They're just on a different part of the path than we are. They've been on the path longer than we have. So it's like, why am I gonna compare myself to this guy who's been doing it for years when I just started now? And honestly, what I think it is just everyone nowadays just wants everything like that, like really, really fast.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's like,
I agree with that.
That's not how it works. Like, and you know, if you get things fast like that and you get them quick, they don't last usually.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know about you, but I never want to be a one-hit wonder.
No, I hope not. No. Yeah.
I don't want to be remembered as being the guy who did that one song.
No,
like I want to be.
Wap. No, just kidding. No, we were talking about him earlier. Like, we don't know where he's at now. But anyway, no, I'm playing Fetty Wap.
You know what I mean?
No, he's not.
Like, we work so hard, right?
Yeah.
There's people out there, and this is just like, I think, a product of the internet. There's people out there who go viral for one thing, right?
Yeah.
And then they fall off the face of the earth, right?
No one hears from them. Nobody knows about their stuff now.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, weren't you that one guy?" And imagine if it was like a bad thing you got known for. Like, that would be even worse. So, like, imagine you made a really bad song because you're a producer that's only been producing for a couple months, but then you talk like you're the best thing the world has ever seen, and then that blows up somehow.
Yeah.
And people who are like us, or even more experienced than us, listen to it and they're like, "Oh my God, this is like not good. This is embarrassing."
Yeah.
And then that blows up. Like, do you want that to be you, or do you want to be the person who's like, you keep working, maybe you're not the best, but you keep working, and it kind of gradually goes up like that, and then you've worked so hard, you know what you're doing, your sound is good, and that's what blows up.
Yeah.
That's what makes you stay. And people like look at you as, "Oh, you're that guy, the one who made the good song, the one who keeps making records." Like, that's who you want to be.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of the artists that we do look up to that are consistently known and good and put out content and music that is respected and good. Like, those artists spent a lot of time working to get to the place that they got to, and they weren't one-hit wonders, and they put in the work and they put in time. And that's where I like his point earlier is like, we're all on different journeys and different paths, and like that's one of the reasons I want to make a podcast anyway, is because like I want anybody who's a young producer out there to listen to our stories and to listen to your path and listen to anyone else that I talk to. I want them to understand, like, okay, this is a possible way that I could go with my career, and this is the work that it took for this person to get there, and this is maybe how I could apply this to my situation and my path, and that's why, like, I really appreciate. First of all, thank you for coming on and
thank you for
being with me
and
stuff, and like, you know, we can talk a little bit more and stuff. We don't have to like go like crazy long or anything, but yeah. So music school. We're both in here. We're both in music school. This is the path that we are choosing.
Yep.
And you know, I'm a very lucky individual to be here right now. We're in our school, Appalachian State University. We are recording and production majors in the Hayes School of Music. Right now, do you want to tell us a little bit about the studio that we're sitting in?
Oh, I'd love to. We are in the RFG studio, and this is one of our control rooms. This is Studio A. This is a beautiful SSL, which stands for Solid State Logic, Duality Delta 48 channel analog console. This is beautiful, and this is, again, one of the reasons why I chose to come here, because the equipment, like, this is stuff that those big high-end studios, those Martin Garrix type studios, these are the consoles they're working on, and I'd love to have that on my resume. We got a beautiful, you probably can't see it, but a lot of outboard gear, compressors, EQs, a beautiful patch bay that connects to a lowboy with even more outboard gear. We have tie lines that you can connect to the other control room, which is Studio B. We have a whole Dolby Atmos studio, which is full, complete surround sound 7.1.2 system. It's beautiful, but yeah, this has become a huge advertisement for App State. So if you want to do a major in recording and production, and you want to get behind something like this, definitely consider coming to App State. The thing I like about App State, honestly, is that like it's more than just hit the books and get smart. It's like network.
Mm-hmm.
Like we made songs. I've met other artists. We've made songs. I started my YouTube channel, and that was a product of COVID, actually.
Yeah.
My YouTube channel.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's amazing that like this studio is a facility we get the privilege to use.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there's been like definitely some ups and some downs, especially for you. Like as a senior now, he went through COVID and he was in this program. But that's amazing that like you started your YouTube channel during COVID. I actually I wasn't aware of that. That's cool though.
Yeah.
One more thing about a previous thing that we talked about I wanted to jump in on is if you are trying to take the route of not music school, like one thing you might want to understand is like, so Emmanuel like talks about how we get to learn how to use these really nice consoles and the outboard gear that we have here, and most studios that you go to use this kind of setup, this kind of facility. They use like an analog console that they mix on, and they use outboard gear because overall, I mean, it's a sound that is tried and true. It's got quality. It's not the same as your $25 plugin that you bought. Unfortunately, like some of those people out there who are mix engineers, but they might not understand any of this. It has helped me understand how to use the compressors in the DAW. It's helped me understand how to use EQ in the DAW. It's helped me understand how to hear more accurately and understand what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And one thing I would say is like if you're trying not to go the school route, when you apply to internships and when you apply to any job opportunities, like having certifications to use this type of hardware and analog consoles is a big asset. Like, would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in school and I'm still getting certifications, like outside of school, just because I want to be competitive.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I want people to look at me and say, oh, he went to school, but he also did this.
Yes.
So he wasn't just in, because there's a lot of people who go to college, and this is another thing I saw in high school. There's people who care so much about their GPA, and honestly, this is for everyone out there. I don't really, to an extent, I don't like GPA and just rating someone based off of their GPA.
Yeah, also, like, using that to define somebody is really bad, because then people who might have a little bit lower GPA get overlooked, and that's just, like...
Yeah, and that's why I say to an extent, like, if you have, like, a 2.8 or, like, something crazy like that...
If it shows that you're not trying and you
there's, like, an
you
extent.
didn't care about your grades, like...
But if you have, like, a 3.1 or, like, a 3.0, right?
Yeah.
But you're involved.
Yeah.
You're smart. Like, a GPA doesn't necessarily mean you're, like... not smart.
Yeah.
It's more like, okay, he's involved in other things. Like,
yeah.
He's not just hitting the books. There were so many people in high school and still in college that come to college, hit the books, study hard, and that's all they do. They don't do anything else. And then they go in the interview and they're like talking like you and I. And then the interviewer's like, so what have you done? And what are you thinking? They're like, and they have like no. I'm not trying to hate, but there's some people with no social skills.
For sure.
Yeah, and they haven't networked because all they did was like hit the books and do all of that. And there's so much more to life than just like, being the book smart person. Because with the internet, dude, like if I forget something, cool, at like 2 seconds, I'm gonna find the answer.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
I'm gonna get you the answer. I'm gonna show you, right? But there's that like that real world aspect that they kind of miss out on. Like, how do you network? How do you properly manage, like, a team of people?
Yeah.
How do you go about making opportunities for yourself? Some of those people don't really, like, look at that. And, again, that's why I say to an extent, because at the same time, you do have to be book smart. You do have to learn your definitions and all that. And so, like, if you're doing nothing outside of school and you have a low GPA, then come on. Like, really?
And that applies to everybody pursuing careers in general. Like, that doesn't even have to be music. Like, if you are in school, out of school, you do have to put in a little bit extra initiative to like get certified, like and to seek out the information that you do need. Like for instance, like I'm not saying that somebody who doesn't come to our program can't learn how to use this console. Like what we said before, you could read the manual, sure.
If I can do it, you can do it,
and you could pay somebody to teach you this type of stuff outside of college, and that would be fine. It's just understanding, okay, what do I want to do? What skills do I need? And how can I get there? What's the best route for me? Yeah. And I think like putting in that extra time to get certified, Emmanuel and I are in this program, but we don't just let it stop there. Like we're working on a song that we're going to release outside of our degree program. and outside of our books and our studies, we're also like, like seeking out opportunities to work and do jobs and produce and develop our skills, and even the YouTube channel, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And like the thing, if I could add on to that, is like, don't let people like put down what you're doing. Don't let them like make what you're doing, make it feel like to you like it's insignificant, because it's not. Because a lot of people have told me, at least when I started producing music, and even like some people that still hate to this day, which I don't understand, and at your big age, at 21, 22, and you're hating.
I don't understand either.
What I'm saying is like, what you do is still significant, regardless of what path you chose. There's so many people that like, oh, I had to go and be a lawyer and blah, blah. It's like, no. Like, that's good.
Yeah.
That's of significance. But so is what I'm doing.
100%.
And so don't
100%.
let people, like, put you down, because there's a lot of valuable skills you learn, especially, like, let's say we're releasing a song. We learn how to properly record, proper recording techniques. We learn all of the mixing techniques. We get hands-on experience with that. Mastering, right? But we also learn networking, right? Getting our song out there. For me, I've done this before, graphic design and making my own like cover art, photography, videography,
promo videos,
videos
editing. Like what we're doing now. Like even talking about this and putting it out later can help get the word out about new songs and all that.
Like marketing and like getting all that stuff out there. That's valuable skills. And if people are like, that's not valuable, it's like, okay, so let's say you're a lawyer and you're done with your lawyer job, right? And you come back home. What do you do? What do you do?
Yeah, exactly.
You open up the TV, right?
Yeah,
or you open up Instagram, or you watch a video.
Bag of chips,
right? And
some
people are, you talk to like that are like, oh yeah, I cannot live without my show. I cannot. I need to have my show, right? There's people like that.
I mean, he's speaking facts.
So if that was truly insignificant, right? Or I love this artist, they need blah, blah, blah. Okay, if they were that significant to you, then what I'm doing isn't insignificant, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So don't let people put down what you're doing just because it's music. Don't let people put down, what you're doing because it's, a path that not many people take.
Yeah, or, maybe it's not like initially the public eye doesn't view pursuing a producing career as like the most, safe route for your finances. You might not get a 401k, but you never know what could happen. You could blow up. I will say
the good thing about the program in terms of that, because I'm one of those people that I'm like, I want my safety net.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to pursue what I'm going to pursue, but I also want some stable income. The good thing about programs like these is that you don't, like I said, putting the blinders on, you're not like just music.
Yeah.
No, you learn everything, right? We've got the concert recording team. Like I said, I know how to network and I know how to build an infrastructure like this. All of these valuable skills that can land me another job. And there's so many people these days that are like, I hate 9-to-5s. Look, if you want to make it somewhere, you got to work, right? My parents did it. Their parents did it.
Yeah.
Everyone does it. You have to work. Like, people want to get results and bypass work. It doesn't work like that. I've already learned that my own way, like through my own journey. And that's why I'm like, okay, I'm really grateful that I have these valuable skills that quite honestly can pay really well.
Yeah.
And I can fund my music career, and I can fund the things I want to do without having to borrow stuff from other people, which,
for sure.
Don't get me wrong, like, borrowing stuff isn't bad, but what I'm saying is, like, I want to own stuff like this. And some people can look at me now and be like, you're crazy. There's no way. This is way too expensive. Well, if someone did it, why can't I do it?
But we can do it. We can all do it. We're not unable to like access the the resources as long as we like put the time in and the work.
And that's why I'm saying that's where I think real intellect comes in, because you can, like I said, hit the books and then you become one of those people that kind of becomes closed-minded and says, you can't do this. This is impossible. This is too much money for you. You can't afford that. How are you ever going to get there? If someone's out there, someone's out there, right? If I'm looking up to like other YouTubers, for example, when I first started doing YouTube, they're like, you can't do it. Dude, I open up my browser, I go to YouTube, and I see someone doing it. So why can't that be me?
It could, yeah,
right?
It completely could, yeah.
So that's why I said earlier, don't give up, because all of this is possible. Is it going to take time? Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Are you going to have to work really hard? Yeah. Are you going to have to do things that maybe other people don't want to do because it's the jobs no one wants to do? Probably. But that's what will weed out the true people from the fake people.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And that's the thing. And some people just don't like going through the mud to get somewhere. And I'm not saying you got to go through the mud to get here, but I'm saying, like, for me, for example, I'm planning on getting a job out of college.
Yeah.
But I'm going to continue doing all of this. And one day, after all the hard work, not only will I have reached where I want to reach, but I didn't have to go through working a McDonald's job to
It's
get.
true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
So much true. And like, I mean, the qualifications coming out of this program, or the qualifications coming out of whatever program you choose, you just want to make sure that those can help you get a little closer to your goal. Like,
Yeah.
For me and Emmanuel, like, our goals might not be, I want to be a live sound engineer, or whatever. But if we had to, and we had the skills, we could work doing those type of jobs because we have the qualification now. And then we can work on our songs on the outside. We can produce for other people on the other times, and we can do what we are passionate about and use the skills in a way that can still benefit us and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and like what you're saying about live sound too, like, okay, there's these other jobs out there, even in the audio industry, that you can do.
Oh, yeah.
And like I was saying, you learn how to network, right? Imagine you're working a live sound gig and your favorite artist, you're working his event.
I mean,
Bam.
yeah, exactly.
And you meet him and you're like, hey, I do this, this, and this. You're like, oh, really? Wow. Oh, and you're working with this company that does live sound. They're really well known. Let's talk.
It's always an example of like, what opportunities are you going to be?
Yeah.
What opportunities are available to you, and how can you make those benefit you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It can help you put your foot in the door for an industry that you want to get into.
100%.
Where if
you
just take the route of, I'm going to work my McDonald's job and then just pursue my rap career, which that sounds so bad. But like, if you did you kind of limit yourself. You're not putting yourself out there. And the internet can only get you so far. Like, it's that face-to-face interaction that I think a lot of people lack these days. I
agree. And honestly, like, to somebody who feels like they might be in a position where pursuing like a music career isn't something they can't jump into school, or they can't jump into, whatever, like, that's an opportunity where it's like, okay, maybe you are pursuing your rap career outside of school, or out, and you're working at McDonald's. That's fine.
Yeah.
But a way that you could redirect your life to actually shoot for some of your goals is, well, maybe I could find a studio or somewhere near me and ask if I could shadow an engineer. Maybe I could find an internship or a course or something that could at least get me a step ahead.
Yeah, being proactive. There's a lot of people that don't do that, and that's why I'm not
look for
trying
the
to,
opportunities, right?
Yeah, I'm not trying to hate on the McDonald's job. I'm not trying to hate on
and that's a grind too. Like, somebody might need that money or whatever, but
I had to work at Domino's.
Yeah,
I mean,
I worked at McAllister's. I did stuff. Yeah, we all did stuff that we had to do.
Yeah, I think it's just being proactive versus being closed-minded and saying I know it all and I'm gonna get there, when you're not doing anything about it.
For sure. Like, even this summer, I like went to a music school, and I wanted to take some more vocal lessons to improve my abilities for when I do more songs. Like, and what I did was I offered them, okay, look, I can play guitar and teach guitar. If you need that, I can offer you that as a service. And right there, they were able to offer me a position as like a substitute guitar teacher. And then out of nowhere, I had opportunities to come in and work. And then my vocal lessons were free and paid for.
There you go.
And like, that's helping me with my career get better. I'm just using the few skills that I specialize in to help me get more skills. And, I ended up actually approaching the owner of that school to start a producing camp there, recording and production camp. And so that's now what I'm pursuing with that school. But even taking the first step to go and talk to the people at a music school, like, that might help you with your rap career in some way. You don't even know. You just don't know, like, what it could do, right?
Yeah, like I said, just don't let people like put down what you do. Don't let them make it feel like it is insignificant, because it's not.
Oh, for sure.
You just gotta start somewhere. You gotta plant the seed, and then it takes years for trees to grow sometimes. But once you get there, like, your roots are stable. Like, that's what I personally want to do, and I'm confident that both of us will do it.
Yeah,
like, it's just a matter of continuing and consistency.
Yeah. Well, I feel like our podcast was like, so far, was like really inspiring. And
I hope it inspired someone out there.
Yeah, I think it was good to hear like your story too. I have like 2 more things for you.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for being on here helping me. This is isantiago. Check out his channel once again. I'm gonna go through here, edit some things, and put some clips out there of us so you guys can check out different good parts of this video, whatever. But definitely check out his channel. 2 more things. So, whenever this makes it out to the world on YouTube, I would really like it if anyone sees the title and says, "Oh, I want to be an EDM producer. Where do I go? What do I do?" For anybody who's completely like beginner level, but they want to do EDM and they want to get better, like I know this whole podcast is like advice for younger producers or for new music lovers. It could be for songwriters, anyone. But in a nice, tidy little way, like how would you go about telling a new person like what they need to do
in terms of EDM?
A new EDM producer, someone who wants to do that.
Watch my channel. but no, but like seriously,
watch his channel. No,
I
but
mean, watch my channel, but listen to the music you want,
and don't use FL Studio. Don't use FL Studio. But I mean, that's our opinion because we're Logic users. I guess Martin Garrix, like doesn't Deadmau5 or somebody use? Doesn't he use like FL?
I know Mike Williams uses Logic.
Oh well, hey, there you go. So get advice.
So for the EDM producers out there that want to start out from ground zero, first thing I'd say is to listen to a lot of EDM. And especially the kind that you like. And I know that sounds like super cheesy. It's like, well, duh, I already do that. But listen with different kinds of ears. Don't listen for this is enjoyable. Listen for how did he do this? Oh, that's a low pass filter. I hear that low pass filter. Oh, you hear that side chain? You hear how it's ducking? How did he do that? Oh my gosh, look at this synthesizer. I wonder if this is a sine wave or a triangle wave and how he shaped the sound. Listen for those kinds of ears. Second thing would be to watch not only my channel, but people out there who teach. Not necessarily, it's good to watch, entertaining content where it's like people just produce on the spot. But like if you're interested in a certain particular artist sound, look up how did he sound like this? How did he do this? Look up those techniques. I would start there. And then I think the basics, get a DAW.
Yeah.
Right? Start to learn that DAW.
You need a DAW to make music. If you
don't
didn't
know
that, digital audio workstation,
yes.
Like Logic Pro, FL Studio. No, we'll stop dissing FL Studio. It's just for fun. But Ableton, and continue.
So get a DAW, learn that DAW. You don't, and I'm gonna say this right now, you don't need third-party plugins off of the bat. Like, do not waste your money on that. There's going to be so many people, so many ads that are going to be like, you need to buy this, you need to buy this, you need to buy this. No, don't start out with that. Learn what you got first so that when you get the good stuff, you know how to use it.
100%. I mean, just willy-nilly buying plugins is something that, I feel like newer producers will get in the habit of doing, and it's just not always... it's not always where you need to start, especially when you haven't completely learned what each plugin that you have does either.
Yeah. And so... the last bit of advice I would give to an EDM producer. So you started listening to all the songs you like to listen to, and you're listening to it with a critical ear, learning how they did certain techniques. You got your DAW, and you've learned your DAW, and you feel comfortable. Release, or not necessarily release music, but finish tracks from start to finish. I didn't do this, and maybe it took me a little bit longer to do things, but start a track and finish it. Don't start a track and be like, I hate this, and then move. No. Start a track from the beginning. Go all the way to the end, finish it, make a new track. And the reason I say that is because now you have the experience of fully going through a full production versus I made this idea, but then I scrapped it and I moved on to another one, and then I scrapped it. You don't have that experience of, I know what it takes to make a song from start to finish. And the more you do that, the better and faster you'll get.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. I agree with that. His tips were amazing. And, I think what has really improved my production is not necessarily just taking, a bunch of different plugins and a bunch of different sounds that I liked and trying to fit them in. It was more of what he said is using your ear. Like that applies to all music, all genres that you're trying to create, even, from trap to hip hop, to EDM to rock. I mean, everything comes back to this. I mean, music is transferred through our ears. We hear it. Our ears are a transducer, and we take it in. And I feel like, developing your ear is such a good tip. And that if I could stress one more, I'd agree. I'd agree with that. And that's helped me with my productions so much. Like even comparing my productions from now and a year ago, just things that I hear differently. And so the last thing I want to ask you for being on here is what's next for you where's your trajectory? Especially he's going to be graduating and not too long of a time, and I'd like to definitely hear where he's headed. So
got you. Well, professionally, in terms of the audio industry, I'd like to go into integrated systems, just because I feel like that's something that's gonna fund my musical career.
Can you explain what integrated systems is?
Yeah, so integrated systems is kind of like what you see here, integrating this system. That sounds so cheesy, but seriously, designing and kind of equipping a space with the gear that they need. It doesn't necessarily have to be the audio industry. It could be both audio and video.
Okay, cool.
That's kind of like what I want to do, but I want to do that because it's what I like, and it's going to fund what I want to do. But musically, what I want to do, which is probably where the question was headed, was
both are important too.
Yeah,
because
both are important.
we need that job or that sustainable income, whatever.
Yeah, you got to build the studios if you're gonna make music in them first, right?
Yeah, and
so
integrated systems is one of those ways where you can
do that,
and you can use it. You can use his skills in that just as much as you can producing.
Yeah. So in terms of my musical career, YouTube is still gonna be a thing. I'm still gonna be making videos more consistently. I'd like to buy a new camera eventually.
Hopefully more with both of us in it.
Yep.
More videos together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But YouTube is going to keep doing its thing. It's going to keep growing. And then I'm going to have my online business. My online business, I want to tailor it towards teaching people a little bit more in depth than YouTube. I'd like to do not maybe like a Patreon, but something kind of like a Patreon where you get a little bit more in depth. I want people out there to feel like where you are right now. So where I could teach someone almost on this level, even though they may be on a different part of the world, I still want to give them that experience of you're sitting here next to me, whether that's one-on-one video calls, whether that's really, really in-depth, 2-3 hour long courses. I'd also like to do presets. I also like to do samples, just so people can just be like, oh, I got all these samples because they're so good. Yeah, hopefully they do that. But also it's I want people to buy my presets, for example, and then there's a free video with it where it's let me show you how I made the sound from the ground up. So now you can learn sound design too, and eventually you won't have to use my presets.
Yeah, I love that. I think that that's something missing in the preset market, and even the plugin market, and too. So yeah, I really appreciate that as well. That definitely could benefit producers, I think.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I definitely want to make music that people like to listen to.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna gatekeep anything. I'm gonna be like, look, I was once in your position too. I didn't know anything. Yeah. I made it. Let me show you.
Definitely. Yeah. Man, I love that, and I think that I would definitely be one of those people who would love to understand sound design a little bit better, because I feel like I'm a few steps before in the production side of things, because he's gone through this program and he's been producing a little bit longer than me, and he's been able to pass on some knowledge to me, which has been helpful, and that kind of thing is amazing. And that's what I hope to do for the future of my channel, future of my podcast, whatever, is to take especially people who specialize in something that's a little bit different than what I do, like EDM, and just pick your brain and find out stuff that I never knew, I never would have known. And but I thank you so much for being on this, and I really appreciate doing this podcast. And it
was good to be here. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Hopefully someone out there, I inspired you. If so, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to my channel.
And I'll put some links and stuff like that for whatever happens in the future, and you guys can always check out everything that we're doing together. Is going to be, there's going to be stuff coming out about their song that we're doing. It's going to be
stay
coming
tuned,
out on his channel.
Yep.
There will probably be something coming out on my channel as well about the process of writing and working on something that I've never done before, which is an EDM style song, future house mixed with progressive house. See, I'm learning.
There you go.
And stay tuned for more.
Follow our Instagrams if you want the behind the scenes.
Links will be down there too,
or on the screen somewhere,
or that
you'll find them.
Yeah, he'll teach me because I'm learning how to edit with him, and I was like,
there you go.
But if you enjoyed this video and somehow made it to the end of this,
if you made it to the end, we appreciate you. You're a true fan.
Totally hit a like and a subscribe and a comment so I can get back to you, because that's really some dedication. This is the first podcast, and
First of many.
Yeah, first of many.
There you
There's
go.
more to come, and
Yeah, glad to be the first one. I'm
there
excited.
We did it. Nice. Cool. Killed it. That was cool.
See ya.
We did it.